You remember one?
No, I just heard the story.
You heard the story.
Well, I made the story up
We
then.
would have if we had thought of it.
Oh shit, it means that
just don't
I thought of it. We had a great party. Thank you very much.
There's lots of parties that I maybe choose not to remember, like the one in Buda.
Oh, that was, I want to remember that
We
one.
gotta have a nice little
Thank you.
top dance party or something in Buda, you know, Frank's place. That's what it was. It was Frank's place, yeah. So anyway, we would have. That's a great idea.
Thank you for having no divorce.
I don't remember it.
We had a great party anyway.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad you had one in our honor.
Yes.
That's great.
What did he do after he started with the printing press? What
Okay.
about the barn?
Okay, the barn, real quickly, the barn. His dad had a barn on his, he had 90 acres or something up in Poth. He rented the land to the neighbor who could raise cattle there. And so Bill had this great idea that we could remodel that barn and live there, turn it into a house. And so we did, and it was actually kind of a fun place to be, except for the rattlesnakes. One time I went out in the morning to go pick some vegetables that I needed for whatever I was picking, and I always usually went in my sandals, my open-toe sandals, and went out there, and Gill was kind of behind me, and he says, "Freeze." So I froze. And he came up behind me, and he chopped the head off a rattlesnake that was about 2 feet from me. And I said, "Ooh, okay, I guess I won't wear my sandals to the garden anymore." And a few weeks later, he came in and he had this little snake in an empty mayonnaise jar with a lid on it. He says, "Look what I found out in the garden." And there was this little coiled rattlesnake. And he put it in the freezer to freeze it to death. He says, "I'll think of something fun to use this for." He was always scheming for something, but anyway. So, long story is, he tried his hands at different things. He was so talented. He really could do anything. He printed T-shirts, and we sold them at some of the fairs, and he printed little pamphlets and stuff with his printing press that people wanted. But it was like he was floundering a little bit with the lack of structure of a real job that paid. You know, he had to be somewhere at a certain time and stuff like that. So anyway, I taught school. I got a job teaching school. So because we didn't have any, we went through our savings straight into that barn pretty quickly. And so I taught school in Beeville. And in Beeville, I rented a room from Sarah's mother, Hazel. Her husband worked in Corpus at the Navy base, I think, or somewhere down there, and they were on during the week, and he came on the weekends. So I rented a room from her. It was just her. The kids had already gone, left. So I rented a room from her, and that was a wonderful year, a wonderful experience, sharing that time with her. And I got to know Sarah and Robin and Robin's kids and stuff. It was a lot of fun. And I'd come home on the weekends. And Poth was about, 40 miles maybe away between Beeville and Poth. So it was too long to commute every day to teach school. It was too long to commute. So I just stayed with Hazel during the week and go home on Friday and come back on Monday morning. So we did that for a year. Teaching wasn't really my cup of tea. It wasn't what I wanted to do. I didn't feel as successful. Of course, new teacher gets all the ship classes, you know, in case you didn't know that. So you get the ones where people, I was so frustrated, I went in the counselor, I said, these kids seem to understand what I'm saying one day, and the next day it's like I'm from the moon. They go over the same stuff, they don't know, I can't remember it, you know? I said, what's going on? What am I doing wrong? Okay, so anyway, long story short, the stress of my teaching job and his laid back, do nothing job, you know, come home, dirty dishes in the sink for me to wash, dirty clothes in the laundry basket for me to wash, you know. I said, no, it's not where we weren't going the same direction. So we parted in I then went in the military myself after that. Where I met and fell in love with my beautiful wife. We've been together 48 years.
saw me, I'm retired now. So I can wear these things. It's real, it's true. I'm U.S. Army retired.
Are you done, Jill?
Congratulations.
Huh?
Congratulations.
Okay, quick announcement, everybody. There is a very large camper van parked right outside the porch here. It's blocking people that are parked further down the road. Whoever that belongs to, we could ask you to move it to a better place so that people can get out that are parked in. That'd be great. The speakers that are coming up, notice that when I put the microphone right to my lips, it actually works. If you're holding it out here, it doesn't work. So,
We did.
next speakers, please talk into the top of the mic, please. Thank you.
No, I work in that. I don't need a mic. Okay, I'm John Kreidler. I'm the luckiest caver around because I met a guy named Bill Russell when I was 14 years old.
Oh my God.
And he took me under his wing. And we went all over Texas and Mexico caving. And my parents never even knew who he was. But I named my oldest son after him. So then when I went off to Texas A&I, my father drove me up in our limousine, because I own a funeral home. And we had the trunk all full of stuff, including my Kelty pack, my hard hat, my carbide light, cans of carbide, a cable ladder, rope, you name it, man, I was ready. And so he helped me carry stuff up to my room in the dorm. And I walked in the room, and there was Ediger. He had country western music playing, and he had already had his stuff on his side of the room, so I put my stuff on the other side of the room, and we had to go down and get some more stuff. So I'm going down the stairs with my dad, and he looks at me and says, "You think you can live with that guy?" And I said, "Well, yeah, why not?" And he says, "Well, you're a rock and roller, and he's country western." I said, "Well, I think I can live with this guy." And but at that time, I was dating a girl at home. So I was going home every weekend. So Ediger and I didn't do a whole lot of stuff during the week. But the third night we were there, he said, "Let's go up on the roof," because we were in a dorm that had boys on one side and girls on the other, and the kitchen and the dining room and the lobby were in between the two U-shaped parts of the dorm. So we went up onto the roof, and I was walking out there with Ediger, and I looked at the third level, and you could see right in the windows of the girls' dorm. I said, "Wow, man, you could come up here and do a lot of window peeping." And he said, "Yeah, don't, because they were after freshmen to sing, and I was a freshman and Gill was a sophomore. So I told Gill, I don't want to do any of that crap, so I'm not doing it." So I went on the roof with him. So we're looking down, watching them sing, and this guy comes out through the door. "Hey, what are y'all doing up there?" And I looked down and I said, "Hey man, be quiet, don't mess with the dorm dick." And he says, "I am the dorm dick." I went, uh-oh, we're in big trouble. Well, Ediger knew this guy. I didn't. I was brand new. So he told me I had to go down to the room and talk to him about this episode. And but what I didn't know was Ediger told him, "Look, this kid's got a smart mouth, so you better come down hard on him or you're going to have a lot of trouble this semester." And I did do a lot of things that semester. But finally, once the girl broke up with me, I came back and I convinced a couple other guys on the dorm to go caving with me to Bustamante and Carrizal. So when they came back, they were telling everybody on the dorm, "Man, that is great, boy, it's so neat." And Ediger had looked at my carbide light and my Kelty pack and all my other stuff. He said, "What is all this junk for?" And I said, "It's exploring caves. That's my hobby." Oh, okay. So then when he heard those other guys talking, he says, "Hey, I want to go. Can we take a trip together?" And I said, "Well, I don't have a car." So we got this guy that had a car to take Ediger, and see, we called each other by our last name, Ediger and Kreidler. And everybody in the caving club called each other by their last name. Yep. And So I said, yeah, let me talk to this guy named Lee Cantil. He's from San Antonio. He's got a little old Dodge Dart, 4-door Dodge Dart. So we got in the car with him, and then this kid on the dorm, this name was Willie White, and he was from Houston, and he was an African-American person. And he was really excited about going in this cave till he got in the cave. Then he was not so excited anymore. But we went to Bustamante and Carasal again, and I mean, when we got back, Ediger was ready to go. He said, we're gonna start a caving club, and we're gonna do this and do that. And so I can take credit for getting him started in caving, but he's the one that really went whole hog, getting the club started, getting use of campus rooms in the buildings to meet, and we had to have a professor to sponsor our club, and we had a what's it called, bylaws. We had bylaws, and one of the things that said is that there are no drugs, sex, or alcohol allowed on any caving trips. I looked at Edgar and I said, well, that's gonna really mess things up. And, so we had a meeting and we decided that only on sanctioned A&I caving club trips, no drugs, no sex, no alcohol. And that worked fine. But the problem is, one of our professors, Dr. Bittinger, Stanley Bittinger, he and his 2 boys joined the club, and we came back from one of the trips, and we were over at their house, and she got me off to the side. She says, John, I need to talk to you about the caving club. I said, okay. She said, there's a lot of rumors going around campus that this caving club thing is really a sexual freedom league. Well, that's not our intention. But, you know, we don't take very many sanctioned caving trips. And so we just can't really tell people when they go together in their little tent or their sleeping bag or whatever that they can't do that. And she said, well, you know, my husband's a professor, and she taught French at Kingsville High School. And, you know, he could lose his tenure. And I said, well, we'll make sure when he's on the trip that we won't be doing any of that stuff. He had a Volkswagen bus. I'm telling you, I went hundreds and hundreds of miles with him in his Volkswagen bus all over Texas, all over Mexico. And I remember one time we were camping out, and I usually would eat canned chicken and Spam, and I'd eat oranges, and that's about it, you know. In Mexico, I'd get bolillos, of course, because you've got to have those. So Dr. Bittinger brings out his 2-burner Coleman stove, starts making pancake mix, frying bacon, and I'm going, Dr. Bittinger, are you cooking this? Yeah, this is the way I always eat when I go camping. I said, really? He said, yeah, you like some? Yes, sir. Yeah, this is way better than my chicken and corn and bolillos and oranges. So from then on, I always went with him. He never made us pay for gas, never made us pay for any food. And I also got into Mexican anthropology, and so I went to a lot of museums with him. And my caving career was wonderful. I was so lucky with Bill Russell and Gill Ediger, because Gill's like my brother. I mean, I went to see him when we were going to go over to Bill Steele's place for the send-off to the expedition, and I asked Gill if he wanted to go. No, I don't want to go. So Gretchen and Kay and I, we said, well, we're going. Why don't you come with us? And he said, okay, I'll go with you. And that's the last time I saw him. And I was so chagrined when I found out he had died, because I'd never gotten a chance to come back and tell him how much I loved him.
That was a sweet story.